Hello, Excessive here. Welcome to another build guide for Diablo 4, and this is going to be a build guide for the Necromancer, and it's going to be a bone minion build. And I'm going to go through the build pretty quick, and after I've built it, I'm going to explain why I picked the skill that I did. Okay, let's start. We're going to start with Bone Splinters, Enhanced, then Bone Spear, Enhanced Bone Spear, and Supernatural Bone Spear for vulnerability. Then we max out Bone Spear, and then we go into Grim Harvest, and then Corpse Explosion. Let's see, you guys gonna watch my notes. Then we take Decryptify, and then we take Grim Harvest, and we take Enhanced Corpse Explosion and Blighted Corpse Explosion. Then Grim Harvest again and Fueled by Death. Then we take Skeletal Warrior to buff them up a bit because they're way too squishy in the beginning. Let's see. Then we take Amplified Damage. And then we take Initiate Bone Splinters. Take Serration. Then Bonded in Essence. And Death Defense. Inspiring Leader. And Hellbent Commander. Just to buff our minions even more. Ossified Essence. And then we go up and take Serration, Golem Mastery, and right, it's this one. Death's Embrace. Increase our damage and decrease the damage we take. Let's see. Compound Fracture and one in Evulsion. Then we take Inspiring Leader and Bonded Essence, Skeletal Mage Mastery, and then we take Hued Flesh. And that is the build. Now let's quick go over. We pick one extra Skirmish Warrior, Mages, cold damage, gain 2 essence, and the Golem, more health and damage reduction. Gems, we take critical strike damage to vulnerable. In our armor socket, we get maximum life. In our jewelry, we take armory, or armor skulls. So, why did I pick this? Well, we have one more thing to go over. We have the aspects. All the aspects are from Codex. So you find them in dungeons. You don't have to go hunting for them and farming over and over and hoping for a legendary to drop and be the right one. You can just go to the dungeon, go in, clear it, and grab the aspect. And then use it how often you ever want. Okay. Critical Strike with Bone Skill. Increase your essence regeneration by 20% for 4 seconds. We have quite a lot of critical strike with bone skills, so we're going to have 20% increased regeneration. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time. And then here's the one that helps us, because for every minion, you have 3 extra maximum essence. And the last skill we took, Ossified Essence, increase our bone skills damage by 1% for each point of essence you have above 50. when cast. So it's going to be roughly 80% multiplied increased damage if we cast at maximum essence. And that is quite a big increase in damage. That is because we have all the minions. So that's a pretty nice synergy. Then we have Edge Master. Basically, all builds have it, just a pure multiplier increase in damage, 15%, since we have it on the amulet. Then we have Defensive. Every time you attack with a basic attack, you grant 20% damage reduction for 2 seconds. Chest Armor. Increase your armor when you deal damage in any form. So when you attack, when your minions attack, as long as you deal damage, you stack up armor up to 25%. Gloves, skeletal, gain increased damage while alive. So after 10 seconds, they do 20% more damage. Protector, every time you hit an elite, you gain a barrier, absorbing damage, more defensive. And when you get crowd controlled and injured, you gain unstoppable for seconds. Because we don't have any unstoppable in this build. And Necromancer only have one, which is Blood Mist, and yeah, it doesn't fit in this build, unfortunately. Okay, that's the build, and that's the skills. Now, let's go over why we went down this route. Well, since Bone Skills is basically the strongest hitting skills if you play without minions. It does a lot of damage on its own, and if you sacrifice your minions, it does even more because the synergy works so nice. But since I wanted to have a build with both damage and minions, I was contemplating, do I go Bone or do I go Shadow? Because the Blight skill have, for example, your minions does 15% extra damage within the blighted area. So Shadow also have a lot of synergy with your minions, but as it is a leveling build, I think the Bone will work better for leveling than the Shadow does. The Shadow might be better at endgame because I think it scales better when you have all the legendary aspects and you have all the gear that can boost your damage, and it has a better synergy with the minions. But for leveling, just raw damage, the Bone Spear is superior. And I have Corpse Explosion and why I took Blighted instead of Plagued. Because had I used a non-minion build, I probably would have used the Plagued Corpse. But since we're doing a minion build, doing damage over time on the mob, because your minion is gonna be in the front, tanking all the mobs, so you're gonna keep the mobs in the shadow damage zone, so to speak. So it's gonna over time do a lot more damage, especially on bosses. And just more essence when you consume a corp. But another reason, by the way, why I took the Blighted is because this one, every time you consume a corp, you generate essence. But as we're a minion build, every time we raise a skeleton, we consume a corp, so we gain essence. And after we have all our skeletons and we use it again, we buff them and raise a priest. And that also consumes a corp. So instead of competing with the minions for the corpse explosion corpses, I went with Blighted so we can have damage over time on the mobs or the boss and still be able to consume corpses for our minions. So that's why I went with this synergy. And then we have Decryptify, which it's just better than Iron Maiden because it's slowed and deals less damage. So if the mobs move away from your minion and try to get you, you can easily avoid it because Necromancer don't have a movement skill, at least not a good one, like the rest of the classes have. And Iron Maiden just basically make them each time they deal direct damage. No, sorry. Cursed target area enemies affected by Iron Maiden take 10% damage each time they deal direct damage. So they just deal damage to themselves when they hit. But since our minions ain't that tanky in the beginning, it's more effective with Decryptify. And then Amplify damage. As long as they're cursed, you deal more damage. And Death Embrace. Close enemies take 6% more damage, and they deal less damage to you. If they get close to you, of course you want to do more damage because you want to kill them faster. And you don't want to take a lot of damage from them when they get to you. So, Death's Embrace. Then we have Serration. Just increase our critical strike chance again for each 10 essence you have upon cast. If you have max essence, that's 130 essence. That's 13 times 1.5. That's roughly 20% extra critical strike chance. So hopefully it will let you crit a lot more on this build. And then we have this, after 10 critical strike with bone skills, you deal 15% increased damage for 5 seconds. And because we have so much crit, so this is going to be up quite often. So it's a nice multiplier. And then bone skills deal 6% increased critical strike damage to vulnerable. Since I was contemplating to have this maxed or this maxed, but this gets maxed for 10 seconds on all damage. This one is only increased to critical strike damage. I think it's better to increase all the damage because this is every attack you do, even if you don't crit. And then we have Golem and boosted minions because as the minions got a nerf from the first beta in the server slam, they were just, in the beginning, they were so weak, they were almost unusable. Then they got hotfixed, gained more survivability. I don't know if they gained any more damage, but they gained more survivability at least, and they were somewhat usable again. So just some more raw power and raw health to the minions to get them up to par again. So hopefully, with all the skills, they do maybe not as much damage as they did before, but closer to it. And finally, Ossified Essence, like I mentioned before, increase your skills, your bone skills damage with 1% for each essence over 50. It is just a no-brainer compared to all the other. Since we're doing bone, it's the best option. And yeah, that is the build. If you found this guide helpful, please leave a like. It helps a lot. If you think that I missed something or if there's something else you want to know, just leave a comment down below and I will try to get to every comment and answer the best I can. And thank you for watching. See you next time.